Got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can't...
Hello, racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicappers Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. This will be day 2 of the Breeders' Cup edition.
The big day,
Saturday, November the 4th. We do have 9 Breeders' Cup races starting at 12 noon. The Derby Bar and Grill, unfortunately, is sold out.
Sold out, so hope to see you here if you have reservations.
But phone early. It might have
phone
in case there's a cancellation.
Yeah, we usually have 1 or 2 cancellations, so phone in the morning to find out.
Always a tough handicapping day, and let's get right into it. 13 horses, 13 fillies in the juvenile fillies, going a mile and a 16th. I ended up on the 8-horse Pied Bianchi.
I like it. I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right, too. Mario's going to kick off the Breeders' Cup on Saturday with a win.
Awesome.
I think it means white feet or something like that, Pied Bianchi. But anyway, this horse had a brutal, doesn't matter what it means. This horse had a very tough trip last time behind Moonshine Memories, who ended up winning the Chandler, which was the prep before this race, and still only got beat 3 lengths. And I just think there's a lot of upside with Pied Bianchi. There's some speed in the race. I think this horse can just sit just in behind the leaders. It'd be really dangerous at a very nice mutual. Up at the 1-horse Heavenly Love for Mark Cassian for second. Julian Leperoux had his choice of the 1 and 4, both Mark Cassie horses, both Oxley horses, John and Debbie. But I went Heavenly Love. I mean, obviously chose this one. Did have the 10-hole last time, showed good gate speed, got out of there, got hung wide a little bit because it is a short run at Keeneland. And nicely drawn, though, in this race in gate 1. This horse has speed and ran off and hid. And I was very impressed with that race. I didn't put the 4 Geo game in the top 3, but he would definitely be my 4th horse. If he ran the same day as Heavenly Love, ran 3/5 faster.
1 by 9.
And ran 3/5 faster than Heavenly Love did. I know you can't. It doesn't always
not
mean
always about it, but,
about time.
But when it's on the same day, it's comparable.
It is comparable. It was the first race in the card. It was an unblemished track, and it was the first race at Keeneland for that meet. And Geo came around well though. But and for third, I put in Alluring Star. I left out Moonshine Memories just because I think there's Pied Bianchi had a tougher trip. Alluring Star is the one that could improve. It was only a second start, ran off a little bit on the head end, still hung on well for, to be third, and just got beat by Pied Bianchi for second. And I just think there's some upside with this horse. And Bob Baffert, you never want to leave him out of anything.
Correct.
But I went 8, 1, and 9. I didn't like the New York horses, and they all drew poorly, like 10, 12, and 13. Wonder Godot is a synthetic horse that ran well, but it's drew poorly. I'm going to have to try the dirt for the first time, but I thought those were your 3 horses. I went 8, 1, and 9.
I went to Moonshine Memories. She's a perfect 3 for 3. She's a big, good-looking daughter of Malibu Moon that they paid $650,000 for, and she's 2 for 2 over Delmar. Looked very good in the Chandelier. I thought she was beatable that day, and she proved not to be. She just looked great. She's, I think, the horse you have to beat in her, so I went to her. I went to Separation of Power, the outside horse, the Chad Brown horse in the 2nd spot, under Jose Ortiz. Just crushed last time in the Frisette. Throughout that race at Saratoga, the spin away, and she's been very impressive with her other 2 starts. Got an 86 buyer both times. That will make her competitive in
dead rail that day at Saratoga. That horse did
in the spin away.
Yeah, it was definitely a dead rail.
22 and 145.
Saratoga was not that day. The rail was not the place to be.
So I like Separation of Power in the 2nd spot. I threw in Stainless in the 3rd spot. This Todd Pletcher horse, Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez, just because there's a lot of speed in her. I know last time was on the turf, but it was also her first time going around 2 turns. And I'm thinking that helped her as much as anything was the distance. And she came from last to run a good second. And just in a race where it looks like there's a lot of speed, she could be a closer under John Velasquez. You're going to get a good price. When you get 20 to 1 morning line on Pletcher and Velasquez, take it. I went 7, 13, and 6. On to the 2nd, the Turf Sprint. Going 5 furlongs.
That's a tricky race. That's a tricky race.
It's a tricky race. And there is a ton of them. Ton of them.
It's 5 pages. We got 5 pages.
We got a lot of pages. I'm all confused. Who did I go to here? I went to Lady Aurelia, the filly, 3-year-old filly, Scat Daddy filly, out of the Wesley Ward barn. She's run America twice. Broke her maiden at Keeneland by 7. Went to Europe. Won a Group 1, a Group 2 over there under Frankie Dettori. Then a good 3rd in a Group 1. Then came back to Keeneland, ran in the Gainesway. Crushed again. Last time coming in this, just ran 2nd, beat a nose by Marcia, the 6 horse. But I'm
Another
thinking late, another filly, another 4-year-old filly. But I just like Lady Aurelia in here.
Yep.
Top connections, Wesley Ward, John Velasquez. Got Lady Aurelia on top of Washington, D.C. Horse, I'm all over Aidan O'Brien this weekend as per usual.
As usual.
8 for 13 lifetime, first or second at today's distance. Had a break in between his last race. I think he needed the race. Only got beat 5. Had a bit of a brutal trip. And they're not taking the trip over here because they think he doesn't have a shot. He's a long shot. I'm going to throw him in, especially on the turf. Aidan O'Brien horses are always tough on the turf. Washington, D.C. in the second spot. And another horse is going to be one of the favorites, Disco Partner, the Christophe Clement barn. 5-year-old, 9-time winner from just 20 starts, and likes to post buyers in the hundreds. And coming off a nice win at Belmont, going 6 furlongs, got a 100 buyer. Jose Ortiz sticks with him. 3-5-1 for me in the turf sprint.
I found this race really odd. Like for 5 furlongs, you really don't have a confirmed speed horse in it.
Yeah, I know.
Like you can look at the form here where usually there's these guns blazing type horses.
Yeah.
They're just going to tear off to the front. I'm going to put my 5 furlong horse in. I'm going to go 21, 43 and see if I can hang on. Usually there's like 4 of them in here. There's like none of them. This race is filled with stalkers and deep closers and like Europeans that have been running on straightaways, which is tricky for them. 5/8 on a with one turn is going to be a little trickier for the Europeans. And I like the 12 just because of the 12 is the 12 is by no means the best horse in the race. Like on paper, not the best horse.
You're just thinking
this horse can do a one-turn 5/8 quite quickly. Kendrick Carmouche is a speed rider.
Yeah, good rider.
He will get this horse out of the gate and in play. And there is a decent run to the first turn for him to clear. But with so many stalkers in the race, I think he can clear and maybe get the lead. And with him on the lead, he's posted some good numbers in the past. He was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year. And it was going 6.5 behind, obviously, and And this horse, he had the rail, which is not the place to be at Santa Anita.
No, he's on the 12, man.
His races, he's had some excuses in his races. I mean, Belmont isn't the greatest place to go 21-2, 43 flat in. He got beat by Disco Partner, who you like for 3rd, and I also have on the ticket. Parks, he's shown an efficiency for. He's won both times going 5/8 at Parks. And Saratoga, he got caught up in a wicked pace duel there against some pretty nice horses. I just
43 and 40.
I just think there's no speed. You look in here, you try. I always, whenever I open up the form, you try and find, okay, how's the race going to set up or shape up, and who's going to get the lead. And I went through 11 horses. I couldn't find who's going to get the lead, and I find Kendrick Carmouche, who's he's an over-aggressive speed rider.
Yeah.
He will get this horse on the lead. So I'm going to try him to defeat the 3. Your filly, Lady Aurelia, she's obviously the horse to beat. She has speed,
special,
but she's a tracker and
she can do
is dangerous. And I agree with the 1 Disco Partner. This horse is like 4 for 4 this year with Irad Ortiz, and
cool horse. Yeah,
he is just a neat horse. Disco Partners is very dangerous. I went 12, 3 and 1.
Well-bred son of Disco Rico.
Disco Rico. Yeah, that's another point. A New York bred.
He's a New York bred that's just a freak.
Has never been in a New York bred race on form.
Like,
here's a guy that would just absolutely kick
him.
butt in New York bred races.
They run him open.
He's too good for New York bred races. He is like running in graded and other races at other racetracks. But I mean, Christophe Clement knows what he's doing. And 12 races on form. Hasn't been in a New York bred race, and he's a New York bred. And he could just,
crush him,
kill him and they got great purses in New York.
Yeah.
But anyway, 12-3-1 for me in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Race number 6 is the filly mare sprint. They're going 7/8 though, with a little tougher distance for them. I'm going way to the outside. Unique Bella is the horse to beat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to not take her. I can see her getting beat. I don't like the way she's coming up to the race. March. Easy win in the Grade 3. San Isabel was going to the Kentucky Oaks, got obviously injured. A lot of time off. Came back in the LA Woman at Santa Anita. Ran a good race. Inferior competition. I mean, the competition wasn't super tough in that race.
She did it impressively.
She did it impressively. Now she's running against Grade 1 horses. And I'm just a little leery about taking maybe 6 to 500. I mean, she's 9 to 5 on the morning line, but I did take her to win it, but I can just see her getting beat. I put the 14 Amy's Mesa in for second. She's 4 for 4 this year. Been running on synthetic only. I have no idea if this horse can handle the dirt or not. It's a Sky Mesa out of a Victory Gallop mare. Should be able to, but she's never been tried. She's either been on turf or on synthetic. And if you look at her form, she's like really good. Or anytime she has not hit the board, or her 2 poor races where she got injured, and she's had significant layoffs. But she's just looks like she's doing great right now. Her work tab's good going into the race. I like the draw going 7/8. She can kind of gallop up on the outside. She might not have any dirt hitting her in the face. She can stay 3, 4, 5 wide and just
run comfortably.
Straightaway, long straightaway going 7/8 and maybe be dangerous. And I put the 12 Sky Diamonds, who's been 2 for 2 at Del Mar. I know you're mentioning horses. You like sticking with horses that like certain surfaces. And once again, another Jeff Bloom runner. See his name on there. But 11, 14, and 12 for me in the filly mare sprint.
I'm with you. I got Unique Bella on top. I mean, she's a horse to beat. And another one, very impressive. The one time she did run at Del Mar, she broke her maiden by 10. And works well coming into this 59-1. Top connections, Hollendorf for Mike Smith. Yada, yada, yada. Unique Bella's obviously going to be
no
tough.
secrets there.
I put Finley's Lucky Charm, the Brett Calhoun horse.
Yeah, I can see that. I like that horse last year, actually. In the
sprint. I mean, look at her record. 12 starts, 9 wins, 2 seconds. Just one out of the money placing. And that was in the Rachel Alexander back at Fairgrounds a year and a half ago. She's just a win machine and wins impressively. She's winning by 8, winning by 5.
She's a nice sprinter.
Yeah, she's tough.
Twirling Candy's a nice horse.
Yeah, and Brian Hernandez riser. And she proved last time that she can come from off the pace, too, if it does get crazy up front. Brian Hernandez is going to give options. Brian Hernandez, in my mind, is one of the more underrated riders in North America.
He's really good.
He's a really good rider. He gets horses in good position. I look for him to do that aboard the 9 Finley's Lucky Charm. And I threw in Javier Castellano, Chad Brown, Karina Mia. Not a win machine, but always there. What is she? 12 for 15 lifetime in the money. She's made $1.3 million. And another one that could come from just off what could be a hot pace. I went 11, 9, and 1 in the filly and mare sprint. On to the filly and mare turf. 7th race.
Killed a few trees for these forms, I tell you.
We need a bigger table.
I know.
There we go. Good Lord.
Got a pile of them. Got 16 and again here again, I think.
Yes, and I'm going near the outside. I went to the 14. Rhododendron, my good friend Aidan O'Brien comes in here off a nice win.
Nice draw.
In France. Yeah, in the 14 hole. But another one, you say like they don't really, they give them time to develop. They're not, they don't tighten the screws for every race. Yeah. But she's still 4 for 10. Lifetime, a very well-bred daughter of Galileo, and was in a 14-horse field last time and won by a head. That's the thing that I like about those Euros in these big fields, is they're used to running in big fields.
And packs of a pile of horses.
Yeah.
Our North American horses used to running in a pack
of
5.
Yeah, 5 or 6. These European horses, they can,
bounced around and shuffled and
which is winning. She's beaten 12. Yeah. She's beaten 14. Like, that's impressive. Top connections. Rhododendron on top of the 9.
Lady Eli.
Lady Eli, I mean, she's going to be your favorite. She's the horse to beat in here. Look at that. Never worse than second. 10 for 13 with 3 seconds. Wow, is she cool. I'm going to the outside to a European to try and beat her on the turf, but she's your horse to beat. Nothing clever about that pick. And then I threw in War Flag, Shug McGahee in the 3rd spot. Coming off a nice one at Belmont, just off the pace. Going 1.25 miles. So shortens up to 1 1/8. She's had success there. Another one that was doing great over in Europe, won 3 of 5 in Europe, and has come over here and had success here in North America as well. Top connections again, and a Warfront filly. I really like that. 14-9-1.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, those are the main contenders. I thought the one maybe that is the 8 Grand Jeté, a Chad Brown runner.
Nice pronunciation.
Jeté. Well, I got A's in French.
You speak
in
French?
School. Not very well. Pierre Bianchi, Grand
yes,
Jeté.
Yes, go for the French ones.
But Grand Jeté started off North American with 3 consecutive victories. Yeah. Got beat by DeCita in the Beverly D on Arlington Million Day, and still ran a great race. Kind of had some trouble, had to fight her way through. Then made the lead it's odd to see a mile and a quarter on a turf course. It's a short run to the first turn, and it is from the one hole. And when you're going a mile and a quarter, but Belmont, that configuration, that's what it is. And so she broke well and was on the lead. When you have to do the fighting the whole way, it's a little different when you're used to stalking horses and producing a move and chasing horses. And she was put in a different scenario in the Flower Bowl, which is why I like her better than Warflag and Decida in this race. She was the even money favorite and failed, couldn't hold the lead for a mile and a quarter, but I just think she will obviously stalk this time, and she's a way better horse when she sits and pounces on horses. And Chad Brown, respect him, Javier Castellano as well. So I put her on top of the other Chad Brown runner, Lady Eli, for the reasons you mentioned. What a nice mare. She's won the 2-year-old Breeders' Cup. 3-year-old year, she just missed the Queen's Trust, who was in the lineup this year again, and she's live again, Lady Eli. And I put the 12-horse Avenge, probably not classy enough, but has the speed. That it's only a mile and an eighth. It's not a mile and a quarter. Has the speed and is Southern California friendly.
Shows up on Breeders' Cup days, that's for sure.
And these Dalmar can carry speed horses, even on the turf. And Avenge could be a little dangerous. She's pretty live as well. But I did leave out Queen's Trust, who's, of course, last year's defending champ. I left out your Rhododendron. There's a lot of chances in here, as always, in a 14-horse field. But I'm going to go 8, 9, and 12 in the filly and mare turf. On to the 8th race. This is the sprint for the Colts and Geldings, 6 furlongs. I'm going to go to the 7, Tackaful, a 3-year-old that's just been blossoming. The only time he lost, or actually lost a Gulfstream recently, the youth going along. The only sprint he lost was going 7/8 to Practical Joke. He had an inside draw at Saratoga. You'll notice the C with the dark circle around it. It was a heavy closer track that day. You didn't want to be on the lead, and likely not on the inside either. And Tackaful was game the whole way. And he showed that because he came back a month later and was just turned away some nice older horses. El Deal had a big winning streak going. He was coming in from Florida. Stallwalking Dude's always a money horse and a big-time winner in New York. And this horse just toyed with them and ran away and won. I see him getting a good trip right on the lead. I don't see anyone fast enough. Maybe DeFrong is fast enough, but he went 22-4 last time going 7/8. But he's shown 21-2 in the past. But Tackaful was the one maybe I can defeat DeFrong with, and DeFrong is your horse to beat. I put the 6-horse Mind Your Biscuits, last year's. He won the Malibu last year, and of course he won the Dubai Golden Shaheen. He won the
only got beat a length
sprint.
Just got beat a length in the sprint last year.
He is a really nice horse, and he was an unlucky 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year behind DeFrong, but did get moved up to 2nd. But I thought he was your closer if the pace gets crazy. But I thought Tackaful was the up-and-comer, just a new horse that's live. Kieran McLaughlin's not over-raced him. He's dynamic. He's a really good horse. Whether he can beat DeFrong, I don't.
Training well coming in this too. A lot of bullets there.
DeFrong and Mind Your Biscuits are seasoned, nice horses, and but I'm going to try Tackaful. 7-2-6.
I went to DeFrong. Basically, he's never been beat. He ran 5th in the first start of his career. Never been beat since then. The one time he ducked in at the rail and lost Mike Smith, so it shows on his form that he's lost twice, but that was, he lost his rider that day. But yeah, he shows up every time. Got 107 Beyer last time, did it relatively easily. Awesome Slew came back to win. Bob Baffert, he's no stranger to the winner's circle on Breeders' Cup Day, him and Mike Smith. DeFrong for me on top. I put Roy H., Peter Miller horse in the 2nd spot, coming off a nice Grade 1 win at San Diego. What I like about him too is he's versatile. You can go to the lead, or you can come from just off the pace. And sometimes, in these sprint races, the pace gets crazy. And he's breaking from the outside. Kent DeSormo's riding great right now. He's going to be able to put him in a good spot. He's trained forwardly for this. Nice 36 move coming into this. I got Roy H. in the 2nd spot for Peter Miller, another top trainer down there.
No, he does really well with the sprint. His horses are crack on sprint.
Ready
they
to
break
go.
well. They know what they're doing. And
he's
right,
tough.
Kent is great on these races.
Very, very tough. And I threw Mario in the 3rd spot, B squared, coming off a state-bred win in the California flag. But I think he wants to sprint. You go back. He breaks his maiden going 7, comes back in the Echo Eddie. These are state-bred races, I know. But he comes back going 6.5, just gets beat a nose. From there, he's running a mile and an eighth, and he's not running that good. He's running okay. He's 2nd in the affirmed. But then he comes back to a sprint, and he wins. And I think this is more his game, and you're going to get a great price on him. My buddy Mario in the 3rd spot, 2, 8, and 4. in the
We always
sprint.
pull for Mario.
Absolutely. On to the 8th, the mile. Classic race. Flat mile on the turf.
Yep.
Another, wow, another big field. Who am I going to? My good friend Aidan O'Brien.
Oh, who else?
Number 12, Roly Poly. Well-bred son of Warfront, 3-year-olds. But another one, I keep saying these horses, he's just racking up the wins over there. Beat 13 horses last time. Just a really, accomplished horse. 6 for 16. 8 starts, going a flat mile. He's got 3 wins. And he's my pick in here. I think he can sit just off another one that looks versatile. When you read these company lines, he likes to lay fairly close, and I think that's going to be to his advantage. I got him in the top spot. I put Studios, if I'm pronouncing that right. Soudois. Sorry, I asked my French teacher.
Yes.
Soudois. Think of the old Phil Collins song, Studios. Soudois. Another one that's 8 wins, 3 starts going a flat mile, 2 wins and a second. They brought him over here. He's got a start at Keeneland. Came from off the pace to win comfortably going a flat mile in the Shadwell. Got 105 buyer that day. Soudois is my second pick. And who did I go to the third spot? The 5 World Approval, Mark Casse, 10 wins from just 23 starts. 208 buyers back-to-back.
He's got 400 buyers in a row.
106, 102, then boom, 108s back-to-back at Saratoga over yielding turf. Then last time over firm turf for the Woodbine Mile. Looks like he can run over broken glass. John Velasquez rides. Those are my selections in the turf. The mile, turf, what did I go? 12, 8, and 5.
Yeah, I agree. The 12's the horse to beat Roly Poly. I went to the 10, Ribchester, for Richard Fahey and Bill Buick. This horse is runner-up last time in the Group 1 Queen Elizabeth Stakes at Ascot. And prior to that, won a Group 1.
I had him in my picks and I dropped him.
The Moulin de Champ, Prix de Moulin at Chantilly. Chantilly. I know, I just love the French. I know, it's getting sick now. But bottom line, 6 for 6 in the money this year, 2.2 million in earnings. This horse can mile, and so can the rider. This rider's won a few. Buick's won a few
big races,
Breeders' Cup races as well. I just thought that one maybe to defeat Roly Poly and Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. I thought those were the 2 top horses. I had to find a third horse. I went to the 4 Lancaster Bomber, another Euro for Aidan O'Brien.
He's run good over here. I looked
he ran second to World Approval, went back to Ascot, absolutely got clobbered. But it's a soft turf course. It seems like the horse doesn't like soft turf. Anytime he looks soft, this horse is absolutely no good. Likes firm course.
He showed up big here last year too. He showed up big here last year, second in the juvenile turf.
Yeah. That's a firm course. Yeah. You look anywhere, you see SF, you see soft turf, you see this horse running way up the track. And last time that happened at Ascot, it's only 13 days ago, which is a little bit of a concern, which might get you a better price because people will see he was at Woodbine, ran second, went back to England and ran poorly. Now he's come back to Del Mar in 13 days. Got to throw him out. But this horse...
Aidan O'Brien knows what he's doing, yeah, he'll be on his game.
10, 12, and 4 for me in a very difficult... I don't see a little tough for the North American ones in this one, but 10, 12, and 4 for me in the Breeders' Cup Mile. On to the 10th race. This is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Going to go a mile and a 16th. I'm taking a shot on the 9 here. I don't want to take shots in every races, but I like to point out horses that may be above their odds that have a big chance. And the 9 Hatsit broke its maiden first time out for Todd Pletcher, a Warfront out of an Indian Charlie mare. The pedigree is there. Obviously, the seasoning is not. I would like to see another race or two, but he won nicely from the rail, going 6.5, which is not the place to be at Saratoga, especially going 6.5. Beat a very nice Good Magic, who shows up in the field as well. Came back in the Champagne, had an outside draw, was 4 wide on a wicked pace. And the horse actually was come back to pass horses in the stretch and get 5th, which I know doesn't mean a lot to some people, but to me it does. This horse was on the wrong part of the racetrack. Nothing went right that day. Gets probably on a more speed-favoring racetrack, and I don't see a lick of speed in this race. I see this horse getting the lead, rebounding with a big performance, and Johnny V and Todd Pletcher. As you mentioned a couple races earlier, you get 20 to 1 on Pletcher and Velasquez. Take it. I put the 2-horse Solimini in over Bolt d'Oro. I thought this horse had more chance to move forward than Bolt d'Oro. Bolt d'Oro is going to be your 6-5 favorite.
Yeah, he's a horse to beat.
And deservedly so.
Yeah.
He's run very well. Not the greatest breaker of the. Doesn't leave the gate as good. Got up there in a field that didn't have a lot of speed last time and was in good position, which led to his crushing performance. But Solimini was 4 wide the whole race. He says 4 wide, 7/8. He was 4 wide the whole race. And I thought battled on well. It was only his second career start. First try going along. This horse has a lot of upside. Drew better than Bolt d'Oro. I thought maybe that might be enough to turn the tables. But there are a lot of chances in here. I'm going to try 9, 2, 11.
Well.
It's up to you, Aiden.
Yes.
I mean, Drew.
That's where I'm going.
I know.
U.S. Navy flag. Yes, U.S. Navy flag.
Navy flag.
Oh, he's won 3 in a row over there, which is tough to do. And he goes. Like, this is a horse that he's breaking from the rail, and I think he goes. I think he carries him a long way. He's never run this far. He's been running mostly like 6, 7 furlongs over there.
He's a war front.
But he's a war front out of a Galileo mare. I'm not worried about the distance. He had him early nominated to the Juvenile turf, and interesting that he chose to put him on the dirt against straight, you know. I'd rather than going on the turf, put him on dirt. I think he thinks this is the best 2-year-old he has, and that's why he's given him the toughest assignment. So I'm going U.S. Navy flag. Like I said, a horse that's on a roll, won 3 in a row. I got him on top of Bolt d'Oro, who's absolutely your horse to beat. Beautiful son of Medaglia d'Oro. Just gets better with each start. 77 by 85, topped 100 last time. He's your horse to beat. Got him on the second spot. And I put Good Magic. Still a maiden out of the Chad Brown barn. Ortiz rides. He's a curling colt that they paid $1 million for.
He's got a lot of upside too.
And yeah, he's run 2 very good races. Like, you know, a good second behind Hatsett, your top pick, in his maiden race. Then straight into the Champagne and ran a good second behind Ferenz Fire. You know, this is another horse. You're going to get a bit of a price on him because he's a maiden, but he's got, you know, a ton of upside. So I want to put him in the top 3. 1, 11, and 6 for me. In the 10th.
The 1.5 mile turf.
On to the 11th. Long,
once again,
long race.
Yeah. See, you only put 2 horses on the form, so you get a lot of pages.
All right, I'm going to the 5 Ulysses. Sir Michael Studi trains his 4-year-old son of Galileo. Sure. Another one with a good record, 10 of 13, lifetime in the money. He's won at 1.5 miles before. 2 starts back, he won just under 1.5 miles, 1 mile and 5/16. Then last time, 3rd going 1.5 miles, field of 18 that day. So the fact that you run 3rd, that's not too bad. Frankie Dettori rides him, a guy who's no stranger to the winner's circle on Breeders' Cup Day. Got Ulysses on top of Highland Reel. My buddy Aidan O'Brien won this race, or won the the Breeders' Cup Turf last year.
Yeah, he won this race.
On the lead, yeah, this race last year. On the lead the whole way, you know, with 112 buyer. This horse made $8 million. He's won 9 races. What a champion he is. I got Highland Reel in the 2nd spot, and I threw Beach Patrol, another Chad Brown horse, in the 3rd spot. Just crushed, going 1.5 miles at Belmont by 5, coming from just off the pace. Just absolutely the best horse in the race that day. Got 109 buyer. What did I do? I got to go all the way back to the beginning here. 5, 3, and 12 for me in the turf.
I agree with the 5 Ulysses. I mean, it's a horse to beat if he gets back. He's the only real Group 1 horse here. They're just running in the Arc and running
Group 1
in
going 1.5 miles, yeah.
Juddmonte International. This horse is like a really cool horse. He did run in the Breeders' Cup last year at Santa Anita. No pace on, and you know, Highland Reel ran away and hid, and I think Highland Reel will get pressured this time. But still, Ulysses is a top chance, and Frankie Dettori back aboard. I put the 10 horse Fanciful Angel in for 2nd. I thought a good debut behind Beach Patrol in the Arlington Million. Kind of got held up with the held up in traffic, and then did have, you know, his English rider on him. Got Erod Ortiz last time, but got no pace to run at, and that really hurt him. 48, almost 114 for the 6 furlongs. Beach Patrol was the best that day. Got the best trip, and I just thought Fanciful Angel third start off of, coming into the U.S. might be pretty live in here. So I'm going to put him in and the price will be right.
Yep.
Beach Patrol will be last, but Beach Patrol is live. I mean, Joel Rosario and Chad Brown will be pretty dangerous with this Son of Lemon Drop kid. He's just continues to improve. He puts himself in position, which is a big key at Del Mar. You got to be in play, or you're going to be on the outside. If you're not, you're just. You got to be close to it's a short stretch. It's barely a 3/16 of a mile stretch run, and so it's tough to unleash a powerful stretch drive when you don't have a lot of time to get there. And Beach Patrol will be in control early and be in a good spot. I went 5, 10, and 12. I agree with you. Ulysses is the horse to beat.
Yeah.
Not totally in love with him, but Beach Patrol is live, and I just thought Fanciful Angel was something of interest to put in there that might get overlooked because it got beat 5 lengths by Beach Patrol last time, but I just thought it was dynamics of the race that got him beat. On to the 12th and final. This is the $6 million Breeders' Cup Classic. Going a mile and a quarter, and I want Arrogate. I don't love Arrogate, but I mean, I'm going to try Arrogate.
I watched him work in training. They've been showing it on the simulcast this week. He looks like the old Arrogate. He looks like he's really back on his game.
I'm not surprised he lost to San Diego Handicap. I'm surprised he lost by 15 lengths and just was not interested in running at all.
Did not show up.
I know there's been a million horses that come back from Dubai that have run poorly after.
Needed one, yeah.
But I mean, that was incredibly poor. But last time still seemed like he was struggling, but once he came down the lane, it's almost like he's got a hind end issue or something, because on the turn he was just spinning his wheels and he's not trying. Then down the lane, when he gets straight away, he gets, but he hasn't got a long enough stretch at Del Mar. And he was getting to his stablemate Collected, but he couldn't get him that day. But I'm just hoping Mike Smith puts him in play, and I think that's the game plan, to put him in play. Use him on the straightaway, nice big long straightaway. It's a mile and a quarter. They start off a shoot, and he's got no excuses not to be in position. And Arrogate for me to defeat Gunrunner, who's just a now horse. He's throwing up them 115 buyers. He's just kicking butt right now, and he is the horse to beat. He's beating up on easier horses. This is tough.
Yeah.
It's a lot tougher what Gunrunner is going to run against. But I got him in for second. I put the other Bob Baffert horse, West Coast, in for third. The 3-year-old. He's been destroying 3-year-olds, but he is facing older horses now. And that is a different ball game. So I left out Pavel, who I thought was interesting.
Yeah, Pavel's got a lot of upside.
He's been all over the place. He's back at home now. He went California, New York, Pennsylvania, New York, now back to California. Now back to California.
He's got a ton of upside.
5th career start.
He's got a ton of upside. This is a big test for him. I think he's going to be one of your top older horses next year.
He will be when he gets a better schedule. He's just had a tough schedule.
But this is a lot to ask for a young colt, as you mentioned, that's lightly
158. I went 158 to close it out.
I agree. Arrogate. I mean, he's your horse to beat in here. As I mentioned, I've been watching him train. He
looks like he's doing better.
He looks like the horse.
He has to be
like
better.
he's his old self.
Million better.
Arrogate on top. Don't need to talk too much about him. I put Churchill, of course. Aidan O'Brien. Put him in the second spot. 3-year-old. He won 7 in a row over there.
You're going to name your second child Aidan, I think.
He won 7 in a row over in Europe. That is something you absolutely don't see. He's 10 for 12 lifetime in the money. Like, he runs 7th. He still only gets beat 3 lengths. He shows up every time. Only got beat a length and 3/4 last time in the Queen Elizabeth. He's a 3-year-old. He's a Galileo, but he is like all class. He's getting huge numbers over there. I got to have him in there. I put him in the second spot, and I put Gunrunner, a horse you touched on. That's very much the now horse. Hasn't been running against this caliber, as you mentioned.
No, it's been easier spots.
Absolutely destroying them.
Impressive.
1, 7, and 5 for me in the Classic. That'll do it for our analysis of the Saturday Breeders' Cup Day card. Up on screen next will be our picks. Mike Azone.
Comes a recap. Here we go. Back in race number 4. I went to the 8 Pied Bianche over the 1 Heavenly Star and the 9 Alluring Star. The 5th race, the Turf Sprint. I went to the 12 Pure Sensation. Going to go 12, 3, and 1. Race number 6, the Filly Mare Sprint. I went to the 11 Unique Bella over the 14 Amy's Mesa and the 12 Sky Diamonds. In the Filly Mare Turf, race number 7, I went to the 8 Grand Jeté over the 9 Lady Eli and the 12 Avenge. Race number 8, the Sprint, I went to the 7 Tacaville, maybe to upset the 2 Defrong, who is your horse to beat for sure. 7, 2, and 6 for me in the Sprint. Race number 9, the Mile Turf. I went to the 10, Ribchester, over the 12, Roly Poly, and the 4, Lancaster Bomber. In the 10th race, this is the 2-year-old, the Juvenile. I'm going to try a long shot, number 9, Hatsit, over the 2, Solomini, and the favored number 11, Bolt Doro. In the race 11, the 1.5-mile Turf. Going to go to the Euros in here. Number 5, Ulysses, over the 10, Fanciful Angel, and the 12, Beach Patrol for third. And in the Classic, race number 12 on a great day of racing. I went to the 1, Arrogant. Close out his career with a win, maybe. 1, 5, and 8 in the Classic.
Up next on my screen, be my picks. There we go. Back in the Juvenile fillies, I went to the 7, Moonshine Memories, over the 13, Separation of Powers, and the 6, Stainless. In the Turf Sprint, I went to the 3, Lady Aurelia, over the 5, Washington, D.C., and the 1, Disco Partner. In the 6th race, the filly mare sprint, I went to the 11, Unique Bella. She'll be your favorite, over the 9, Finley's Lucky Charm, and the 1, Karina Mia. In the filly mare turf, I went to the 14, Rhododendron, over the 9, Lady Eli, and the 1, War Flag. In the sprint, the 8th race, I went to the 2, Defrong, over the 8, Roy H, and the 4, B Squared. Come on, Mario. In the mile turf, I went to the 12, Roly Poly, over the 8, Sudois, and the 5, World Approval. In the Juvenile, I went to the 1, U.S. Navy Flag, over the 11, Bolt de Oro, and the 6, Good Magic. In the Turf, the 11th race, I went to the 5, Ulysses, agreeing with Mike on this one. We agree on the late double. The 5, Ulysses, over the 3, Highland Reel, and the 12, Beach Patrol. And of course, the Classic, we agree on number 1, Arrogant. I put the 7, Churchill in the 2nd spot, and the 5, Gunrunner in the 3rd spot.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks for tuning in all season.
Yes.
We really appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully we've given you a lot of insight, and I know it's a tricky game at times, and we try and provide as much valid information, the stuff that maybe you don't see at first glance, and try and help you out with your selections. And Breeders' Cup is a real evidence of that. This is a tough one. You really have to read between the lines sometimes to see and to try and find a winner. And we really appreciate you viewing. Don't forget, do phone Drew, or phone here, 536-2978, for if there are any cancellations on Saturday, because it's going to be a fun day. They got screens, all the screens. It's going to be
it's the best place to be.
Absolute fun day. Great food, I got the great food here at the Derby Bar and Grill.
And of course, starting next week, sorry to interrupt, next week, we're right back into our handicapping contest every Saturday.
That's right. So there'll be no handicapping contest this weekend. Way too busy going. Way too much going on to run a contest. But it will begin.
Resumes next Saturday.
Resume next Saturday, November.
Saturdays throughout the winter.
November the 11th, and so it'll be always a well-attended event, the handicapping contests.
Yes.
And on behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in. We've really enjoyed your support. Each and every outing through the Hastings season. We'll see you next time back in April. And our thanks to our crew.
If we're still high, if we have
Glenn decides that we're still worthy of
thanks
doing
to the boss,
the show.
Glenn Todd,
Thanks, Glenn. Glenn does. He puts
Kathy,
this all on. It's on his own dime, which is that is.
And we don't come
cheap. He doesn't have to. Yes, we do.
Extremely cheap.
Extremely cheap. But, well, thanks, Glenn, for doing this. And I know everyone appreciates it. Thanks to Kathy and Dave and Jason, who have been here throughout the year, working the camera and the lights and
making
everything.
us look pretty.
Making us look great and getting all the lighting and everything goes great. Makes us do things right.
Yes.
And we'll look forward to seeing everyone next April when Hastings resumes. We'll have our first handicapping show in mid-April. On behalf of Drew, thanks for tuning in. Good luck on Breeders' Cup weekend.
Good luck, everybody.
And don't forget, simulcasting here at the Derby Bar and Grill all winter. Get down here.